Bruce Wayne has managed to do so much in such a short amount of time as Batman, but will his time as a Caped Crusader come to a horrifying halt? Will he be broken by the hands of Bane? Well, let's hop into the pages of Absolute Batman issue number 9 and find out together, shall we? So then, this issue actually opens up far from the streets of Gotham. Instead, we are in the fictional nation of Bialia, neutral ground for peace talks between the warring nations of Kahndaq and their old foes Karak, basically a who's who of made-up foreign nations within the DC universe. Today, though, the two countries' leaders have decided that they fought just long enough, spilled enough blood, lost enough sons, and because of that, they want to put an end to the war once and for all. Hell, they've even agreed to share the sulfur mines and big pipeline deals, which, of course, is going to mean bad business for one of the powers that be out there, so much to the point they end up dispatching one of their agents in the form of Bane, who makes short work of shattering this peace with his terrifying size. In fact, he even makes an offer to the two leaders. Hey, one of you is going to die today and the other one is going to turn their back on all of their ideology and beliefs to keep this war going. Who's it going to be? 1, 2, 3, nodded? Okay, you. Gotta say, I like this absolute take on Bane. He's not all that much different from his main universe counterpart, maybe a little grosser, but still surprisingly well-read and intelligent for a man of his size. It's after that we transition back on over to Gotham and see what became of Batman following the kidnapping of his good friend Killer Croc Waylon Jones. It seems that the Dark Knight wasted absolutely no time pounding the pavement looking for any leads he could find, and by pavement I of course mean any mafioso he could find. In fact, he beat up so many people the hospitals ran out of ambulances. Then they started sending ride shares and they ran out of those too before eventually one brave and creative EMT decided to start taking people in a rickshaw. What was that guy's name? Oh, just D. Grayson. When it's clear that Batman isn't going to be able to solve this problem on his own, he makes the risky decision to try and reach out to Officer Barbara Gordon. After all, she let him go during all of that craziness with the party animals, so if there's any cop he can trust, it'll probably be her. How about that? In this new Absolute universe, Batman does form a crime-fighting partnership with a Gordon. It's just not Jim this time around, huh? Actually, speaking of Jim, we get to actually see what became of him after losing the mayoral race. He's not a politician anymore, he's not a cop, yet Martha still is trying to inspire him to fight the good fight for the betterment of the city. And you know what? Jim actually agrees, but in a very interesting reversal of fortunes, he says, you know what, Martha, you've backed me up and supported every play I've made up until this point. Tell you what, you take the lead moving forward, I'll follow you. Oh, are they gonna become buddy cop private detectives? Now, it's after that we see Batman hosting a meeting of the minds between his friends in the Crime Alley crew as well as Alfred, who has finally returned from London. They now officially have it on good authority that poor Waylon Jones has got himself locked up in Ark M. In fact, a lot of people in the local government are going out of their way to make it look like he disappeared. Not only have they slapped him with some bogus charge about resisting the current curfew and martial law, but they've also used eminent domain to sell his gym out from under him, implying that wherever he is, they have no intention of letting him come back. Now, Bruce broke into Ark M once before, and he's not going to be able to do it the same way twice. Thankfully, though, Harvey and Oz have actually managed to luck their way into some very important information. You see, to the public, it looks like Ark M just broke ground 2 weeks ago. In reality, though, they've actually been working on this project since the 1800s. You see, as it turns out, there actually was a real Arkham Hospital for the criminally insane in Gotham once upon a time. It burnt down under mysterious circumstances, the land got bought up by JK, and they've been building on there ever since. Thankfully, though, this is exactly how Batman is going to sneak inside, by making use of a bunch of the old underground tunnels. Batman suits up for this new dangerous mission, and Alfred wishes him well, which is actually kind of surprising because this is the most positive and upbeat the old guy has been basically all series long. A fact of which does not actually go over Bruce's head, and a fact that will make much more sense later on. Now, Batman infiltrates underground Ark M easy enough, and what he finds is truly shocking: a massive state-of-the-art facility hidden from the public eye. It would seem that whatever Freeze was doing upstairs was just an appetizer, and that the real main course of Ark M exists deep underground. Batman pokes around for a little bit and ends up coming face to face with the frozen skeleton of, well, is that Man-Bat? I can't say for sure, but it's also here that in his internal monologue, Alfred ends up letting it slip that he actually knows way more about what's going on here with Ark M than he ever bothered to tell Bruce. For starters, this thing goes much deeper than any of them could ever imagine, including Alfred's own bosses. He also knows that Bane has been dispatched by the powers that be to deal with Bruce. And there is sadly a very good chance that as good as Batman is, he is not ready for what's coming to him right now. We also seen a little file there, what looks to be a young Alfred hanging out with a dude who has an eye patch. Maybe Deathstroke, maybe not, who knows. The big finale of this issue, of course, is Batman's fight with Bane. Not that you could really call it much of a fight. Bane surgically takes him apart like he was absolutely nothing, breaking his elbow by just touching him with 2 fingers. In fact, by the end of the encounter, Batman is standing on his one good leg, the only thing that's not actually broken. Well, actually, that's not 100% true. Batman's mouth works just fine, and he drags Bane over the coals, saying, "Oh, you think you're so tough because you're shot up with a bunch of super steroids, huh?" Only for Bane, in truly terrifying fashion, to reveal, "Oh no, I haven't actually taken any super steroids yet. Want to see me take them?" It's after that, and only one flick of a button, Bane ends up turning into a twisted mass of flesh and muscle. The venom expanding his body to inhuman size and gifting him with even more incredible super strength, because goddammit, this is absolute Batman and all the villains get to be nightmarish body horror abominations to haunt all our nightmares as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Absolute Batman issue number 9, everybody. A slightly slower but still very engrossing kickoff to a brand new storyline. I like that we get to see Batman slowly but surely build his hero network in this universe, be it his friends in the Crime Alley crew, Alfred, who he still can't seem to 100% trust, and of course the new Barbara Gordon. Then of course there's the small but still very meaningful revelation that Dick Grayson does indeed exist in this absolute universe, and he's alive in Gotham, but he's also an adult, meaning we probably won't get a traditional Boy Wonder in the absolute universe, or if we do, maybe it'll be someone completely different. The biggest, and I do mean that literally, part of this new story is of course the introduction of Absolute Bane. Like I said, he's not actually that different from the main universe Bane, but I do like the small tweaks they make. The mask has teeth. The super steroids, that are still not actually called Venom in this issue at least, are so strong his body is actively ripping itself apart every time he uses it. I know Scott Snyder cut his teeth as a horror writer before throwing himself into the world of superhero-dom, and I do love it every time he brings back his horror influences. Which makes a perfect type of sense when we stop and consider that pretty much all of Batman's classic foes have at least one foot in the pulps and gothic horror, so updating it for a modern era, putting a fresh spin on it, just feels good. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this issue a 7.5 out of 10. Not as good as the one that preceded it, still really good though, and still very interested to see where it can go from here. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.